Hi, it's Kelly Johnson with the Review House, and this is the Glide Bike. I absolutely love the Glide Bike. Both my kids learned how to ride a bike using this bike. This one in particular is the mini glider. They do make it in a few different sizes, but this is kind of their starter bike. My son started riding this bike at about 2 years old. Now what the Glide Bike is a balance bike. So you can see there's no training wheels. There are little foot pegs here for them to rest their feet on, but there's no training wheels, so it teaches kids how to balance. It's a balance bike. What they do when they're little and just barely standing on it is just walk with it, and they'll kind of slowly walk as they're playing with it, and then they'll get a little bit faster and kind of start to jog, trot, and then eventually they'll be picking their feet up and balancing. Very popular in Europe. Here in the US, we're still kind of just now coming onto it. I do see more and more when we're at the park. You know, a few years back when my kids first got theirs, every single person at the park would stop us and go, "What is that?" Nobody had really ever seen them before. They are becoming more popular. Again, in Europe, it's all they use. They think training wheels are nuts. And honestly, once you see a kid riding a bike on this, you too will think training wheels are just not the way to go. Because obviously the whole point to riding a bike is balance. So we put kids on training wheels, we're not teaching them the basic fundamental of riding a bike, and that's learning how to balance. Why we like the Glide Bike in particular is a few things. For my daughter, my oldest, we started with a wooden balance bike. It was heavy, it was really heavy. It had a real short turning radius to the front of it. And one of the biggest things that I didn't realize was important until later on was a brake. And I don't know why in this industry, but there are almost no bikes. I couldn't find any that have an actual brake. Again, with my oldest, with my daughter, I never really realized that that was a very important thing. She's a bit more cautious. My son, by say 2.5, he was amazing on this bike and bombing hills and kind of all over the place. And he can throw his little tennis shoes down to stop himself, but when you're going that fast, it takes a very long time to stop, so it was really not safe for him to be on that bike. And that's about the time we started searching for a new one and found this one here, and the kids have both been riding them ever since. It's aluminum, so it is super lightweight. I hate to say it, but I don't know the actual weight on it, but I'm gonna guess it's like 5 pounds. It is a really lightweight bike. What is really cool about that is obviously you're out riding a bike with a 2-year-old and they're gonna get tired. So many a times I have schlepped this back to the car, or back to the other side of the park, or sometimes even been out with my single stroller and had the little one out riding his bike. He gets tired, he could jump in the stroller. I'd grab this thing and just throw it right on the canopy of my stroller, and it's literally that light that I could just put it right on the canopy and it wasn't gonna dent it or do anything to it. We just love these bikes. I think it is such a great tool. It does come with a little kickstand here. I have to say on all of ours, we take the kickstand off. It's fine at the beginning. When they're just walking and kind of trotting. Once they get really good and start running, it is an ankle clipper. So we've actually taken it off of all of ours. And then that being said is really how many kids are actually going to use it. Unfortunately, it kind of just gets tossed on the ground anyways. The front peg here, which again, they're not going to use until they get much better and they're actually balancing, but that gives them a spot to put their little legs to kind of where the pedals would be. And they can glide, you know, for as much speed as they have and keep going. When they are first learning though, if this is in the way, you can actually, there's a little push pin here at the front. You can push that all the way in and just turn it sideways. So when at the beginning, when they're little and they're still kind of getting familiar with the whole concept, you can spin that guy sideways and not even use it, just get it out of the way. It does technically pop right off too if you didn't want it there. Another reason that this guy is so light is it is a foam tire. So nice, you have no maintenance, anything like that. You won't get flats, that sort of thing. It's just a nice foam filled tire, and again, it does keep it nice and light. There's a great seat adjustment from 13 inches down at the beginning to 17 at its tallest point. And again, there are bigger bikes if that was too small, although I think that the mini glider is pretty much the best way to go because of the fact that you can start them so young with that low seat, and then by the time they get up to that high seat limit level there, they're usually riding a bike. I mean, it really is that good at teaching them how to ride a bike. Now that being said, now that my kids can ride an actual 2-wheel bike, no training wheels, we still have the gliders in our house, and it's just kind of a different toy. Some days they feel like riding their bike, sometimes they feel like riding their scooter, sometimes they feel like taking out the Glide Bike. So we've had them for a couple of years now, and they still just absolutely love it. I think it's such a great investment and just a really fun toy and a fun way to learn how to ride a bike. So that's the glider, the mini glider.